One of the things that I've been into almost as long as I've been into video games has been radio controlled cars and trucks. And for nearly 20 years, I actually worked in the RC industry. I started with Radio Control Car Action magazine. I then moved on and was one of the founding members of RC Driver magazine before eventually moving on and joining the Horizon Hobby team. Hey everyone, Gary here with Rock Solid Productions. Thanks for stopping by and checking out a very different sort of video that we have here today. Now, this is one of those things, RC is my roots. I mean, I have been on YouTube with Rock Solid Productions for the last 5 years or so. I've been on the platform since 2007 in some form or another, launching our first video in November of 2007. Now, one of the things that I absolutely love has been the car and truck side of the hobby. That's my core enjoyment. And back in 2003, like I mentioned, I was one of the founding members here of RC Driver magazine. This is the second issue, and on the cover is the Team Losi Mini-T. Now, this was a really interesting sort of release back in the day where it basically scaled down the larger race trucks that we were running at racetracks competitively and made it into what is called an RTR, or ready to run. Everything you needed to run it was in the box. And it was one of those things you could set up tracks in your basement, in your backyard, in your, in your garage. Pretty much anywhere could now become an off-road racetrack, and we had so much fun with the Mini-T. And over time, this platform evolved. We had two different sprint cars. There was a dirt oval late model. So many vehicles that came out of the Mini-T. But eventually, the Mini-T was retired. But in recent years, they have brought a version of the Mini-T back in the Mini-T 2.0. Now, where the original Mini-T was based off of the Team Losi XXXT stadium truck, yes, XXX. Back in those days, they weren't thinking about people searching for certain naughty websites on the internet, but the Mini-T 2.0 was actually based upon the Team Losi Racing 22T, their latest stadium truck at that time. Now, since then, they've gotten more feedback and released a 2.0 brushless version, and that is what we have here today. What does brushless mean? Well, a brushless motor is a more powerful motor that is virtually maintenance-free. It delivers more speed, more performance, it's more efficient, and there really aren't any wear and tear points within the motor. So you should have a lot more enjoyment and a lot less work to go ahead and have that enjoyment. So what we're going to do in this video, we're going to go ahead, we're going to unbox this, we're going to take a look at the chassis and everything, we're going to see how it comes out of the box, and then we're going to go ahead and we are going to hit the dirt with it. Now, one thing, while I used to be employed by Horizon Hobby, no longer. They don't know that I'm making this video, they have no input on it, so this is completely something I purchased with my own money, and we are going to go ahead and check out right now. So here we have the Mini-T 2.0 out of the box already. It was one of those things that's just easier to do it that way with the spacing that we have. It is available in two different pre-painted colors. It has the blue, or there's a red version as well. Now, you can also get clear bodies if you wanted to paint your own, so a lot of customization here. Now, on the rear tires, this is a rear-wheel drive, two-wheel drive car. It does have what's called a step pin tire. It's basically, if you look at the carcass of the tire itself, you can see the pin itself has a smaller outer lug and then a larger diameter inner lug. Basically, what that means is the top pin, if it's a harder pack surface, will kind of run on that, and then the deeper pin will kind of cut through like loam and fluff, things along those lines. We used to do this back in the day. Not a very common tire tread anymore, but we used to also cut these outer pins down just to get to that inner lug. And then up front, it does have these ribbed directional tires, so basically the tire will basically have more resistance across this way, will help it overall turn better. White dish wheels on these. White wheels are worth 0.2 of a second a lap over yellow wheels. It is a known, proven fact. Overall, just a great looking design on here. I always liked the stadium truck bodies, especially the 22T body, and the Mini-T 2.0 body kind of fits that motif perfectly. Now, to take the body off, super easy. It just has these 4 clips on there. They're called body clips. If you lose them, don't worry, you can get replacements. And that's one of the cool things about this package is every single part and piece on this vehicle is user replaceable. So if you break a suspension arm, a shock, a suspension link, anything on this vehicle can be replaced. So that is one of the reasons this is referred to as a hobby grade vehicle, Toy grade vehicles, basically you break, you're done. And this is exactly how it comes out of the box, just like this. It does have your electronics pre-installed and everything. It has a Spectrum SX 107 steering servo. This is what actually turns the steering links side to side. And it does have an integrated, what is called a servo saver. It's basically a spring so that if your wheels hit against something, instead of sending that shock to the servo, potentially stripping a gear, it helps protect it so that it'll kind of bounce back a little bit. Above and beyond that, we do have coil-over, oil-filled, threaded body plastic shocks. Now, there are upgraded aluminum-bodied shocks available that are more precise. However, I will say versus the original Mini-T, that had friction shocks. So this is much better already right out of the box. The front end is basically a scaled-down version of the 22T. It has the gull-wing type suspension arms, your inboard pivot plate, adjustable camber links instead of fixed links, same with your steering links, so you can adjust camber in and out, or you can adjust your toe in or toe out on the front too. For your receiver, you do have I'll call it a generic 2.4 gigahertz receiver. The reason why I say that is that Horizon Hobby has their Spectrum 2.4 gigahertz brand. It is their top of the line premier 2.4 gigahertz technology. This is not compatible with Spectrum equipment. Kind of a bummer for me, since I will eventually be swapping out this receiver for a Spectrum receiver so I can use it with my Spectrum transmitter. Now, for battery, I have an extra one here. I don't want to take it out. It comes literally like this in the truck, but it does include a Dynamite Reaction 650 milliamp lithium polymer battery. And it also includes, and this is kind of interesting, it includes a USB charger. Now, the reason for this is by going this route here, it keeps costs down a little bit. They also don't have to send a power supply off for CE certification, so it reduces their stress level, a little bit less expensive to go this route too. Now, in the event that you do want to go ahead and charge this using a conventional RC battery charger, you can do that. Their charge rate right here, 1C charge rate. So what that means, with a 650 milliamp battery, you charge at 0.65 amps at most. You don't go over that. So anything above that, you could potentially damage a LiPo battery, could cause a fire. So just be safe when it comes to that. And as you can see here, extras are available if you do want to go ahead and pick them up. Now, for the motor on the brushless system, it does have a Dynamite brushless motor. We'll show that out of the truck on screen here. And the unique thing about this motor is it actually has the motor and what's called the ESC, or electronic speed controller, all built into one. Normally, there's a separate component that goes between the receiver and the motor to control the motor functionality and basically act as a voltage distributor. With this, it has it all built into one. It's less complicated, saves you space on the chassis, but it's one of those things, if you ever want to change motor, you have to change motor and speed controller. Something to be aware of. Now, the chassis is fairly cram-packed, so putting in other speed controllers might be a bit of a challenge. I am going to actually remove the body clips here. And same thing here, there's two body clips that hold the battery tray down, and this just swings out of the way. So if you do want to use a separate motor and speed controller, what you may end up doing is mounting the receiver to the top of the servo here and mounting your speed controller to the top of the radio tray here that swings out of the way. It does have an integrated slipper clutch built into the top spur gear here, and you can change the gearing too. Again, we'll show insets there. Now, on the rear end of the truck, like I mentioned, it is two-wheel drive. It does have what is called a gear differential in here. And as you can see, as I turn this one, the other one goes in the opposite direction. What that does, as the truck goes around the corner, it allows the inside wheel around the corner to turn slightly slower than the outside wheel. Now, it's not as efficient for doing that as like a ball type differential, which is more adjustable, but with something like this, it's less maintenance, it just works, and you'll actually get better power delivery without the slip of a ball differential. The main chassis plate itself is aluminum, and it does use Allen head screws throughout. Now, for an RC guy like me, absolutely love that. I have Allen wrench tools. It's good for me to be able to do that. Some people may want Phillips head screws. Now, the Mini-T 2.0 does come with these two basic tools, an L-type Allen wrench along with a box wrench, also known as a Kyosho or a Tamiya wrench, so you can take your wheel nuts on and off, move the shocks, things along those lines. If you are planning on keeping this for any period of time, go to your local hobby shop, take your truck with you, let them know you need an Allen wrench that fits these, and get something that has a hardened tip. That'll save the end of the wrench itself. It'll also keep you from stripping these screws out, which is a pain in the rear end when that happens. Now, for control, it does include a basic 2.4 gigahertz transmitter. The batteries are actually loaded in the hand grip here, and it's a bit difficult. There we go. And just 4 AAA batteries that go right in there. Now, the transmitter itself does have some basic tuning functionality to it. So, for example, you can adjust your steering trim left or right. So if the car is pulling one way or the other, you can adjust that. And if you're having to travel too far with the trigger to make it go, or if it's automatically going forward and you're not doing anything or backwards, you can adjust the throttle trim for that too. It does have a decent range of motion, good for smaller hands. It's not terrible, but definitely not up to the performance qualities of, again, like the Spectrum radio equipment that's out there. I understand they went with this to keep costs down. Price of the truck here, I got it on sale for $190. I think normally they're $239. So definitely a way to keep the already, somewhat, still a reasonable cost, but not necessarily cheap. Finally, it does come with a full instruction manual that will walk you through. We'll move those aside. First of all, it walks you through the motor and speed controller, lets you, kind of walks you through the quick start guide, how to hook everything up. Most of this is already taken care of for you. You can go ahead and adjust the programming on it. You can calibrate it. There's a lot that you can actually do with this. You can also change it from forward brake reverse, which is the default, to forward with just brake. You can adjust what's called drag brake. So basically, if you let off the trigger, the truck will automatically start slowing down versus just coasting. Adjust the punch level, which basically is the how aggressive the truck is off the line. Comes out of the box set to punch level 3. Max brake force out of the box set default to 75%. Start mode is level 3. Throttle response when the car accelerates. That's what the start mode is. Your low voltage cutoff. So this is an important feature on lithium batteries. We're going to bring this back in here. So unlike the older NiCad or nickel metal hydride batteries of the past, where they wanted to be drained all the way down whenever you ran them, lithium polymer batteries don't. If your car or truck stops, stop. That is protecting the battery from being drained down too far and potentially damaged. These batteries are made up of actually 2 smaller batteries inside, and they don't like being taken down past 3 volts per cell or per battery. So if you take it below that, you're going to damage the battery. So if the car or truck comes to a stop, just stop running. And then, like I mentioned, you do have the full manual. Now this is the manual from the original Mini-T, or the Mini-T 2.0, I'm sorry about that. And it goes ahead and just walks you through the basics on here. In addition, there are a full line of option and hop-up parts. Like I mentioned earlier, you can get aluminum bodied shocks for it, aluminum front camber block, aluminum steering links, aluminum front and rear hubs. There's just a lot of different parts and components on here that you can go ahead and tweak and change. Now, one thing I have heard in talking to others, such as Max Kramer, from Tower Hobbies and Horizon Hobbies, these are pretty lightweight, and as such, they can benefit from having some lead weight added to them. Now, I'm not going to run it with any lead. I'm going to run it as it came out of the box and judge its performance by there. But let's go ahead. We've talked about the truck enough. Let's take it to the track and let's see how the performance is. For starters, I took the Mini-T 2.0 Brushless out to Eli Field, an M3 raceway in Monticello, Illinois. It had just hosted RC Fest 2022 the day before, and the track had a ton of bite. Well, today, not so much. It was really hard-packed and really dry, which led to a lot of wheel spin, especially with this much power on board. The truck handled great overall. It was just hard to get that wheel spin under control with so much raw torque on hand. While it was okay on the track, where things really started to flourish was when I took it to where some of the try-me areas were on the facility. Things that had a little bit more grass, a little bit overall more bite on the ground, less hard-packed dirt, less sandy type surface. Now, it was still fun doing donuts with this thing, don't get me wrong, and it did jump really, really well. but with the lack of overall grip, moisture, and traction in the ground, it wasn't really where it was best at home. Now, speaking of being at home, that's where we're heading now. We're gonna go into my backyard, and you're gonna hear one of the best sounds ever here in just a moment. Listen to this.
You better go get it.
Now, we do have a fire pit in our backyard that is surrounded by mulch and everything, and the Mini-T 2.0 Brushless, man, this thing hooked up like a rocket ship through here. Yes, it still pulled wheelies, but it had enough slip that I could get more traction to the ground without as much problem. Now, my grass, I just mowed this 2 days before, and that's where something this size, being 1/16 scale, I believe is the scale in here, don't quite have enough ground clearance to get over the grass, even after it's been mowed. This is definitely at home, more on like a playground, a baseball field, in your driveway, in a park, something along those lines, than on grass. Man, this thing was an absolute blast. And I'll admit, I haven't raced a whole lot in a couple of years. Just things have been busy. I've been focusing on the channel. We've got Ellie and family things, and there are just lots of things going on. You know, Sunday is normally my day to either go racing or that's when I record videos. So I've been recording videos, but this is one of those things. The Mini-T 2.0 Brushless is so much fun, and it's stupid fast. I would dare say it is too fast for the average beginner. I was having a hard time hooking it up in loose dirt, even with, 30 plus years RC experience. So it's one of those things, if you're just starting out, the brushless might be the way you want to go, but I would probably go with the brushed version just because it will be slower, easier for you to drive. You're gonna break fewer parts when you hit things. I will say the stock Dynamite battery, you got about 20-25 minutes of runtime out of this on a brushless motor, which is gonna draw a lot of current. Terrific, I absolutely loved it. And the stock charger worked well. Now, I did pick up an adapter, and I will have it on screen right now, that will allow me to charge this using my traditional Spectrum 2100 LiPo battery charger. Make sure that you only charge this again at 1C. That way you ensure that you have good overall cycle life and everything. You're not risking damaging the battery, and quite honestly, you're not risking a potential fire by charging it too fast. Realistically, charge time, about an hour. It's really what you should be looking at. Any issues crop up while I was driving? Well, I'm a klutz. I fell as I was trying to go and flip the truck over, and I fell right on the face of the radio. And I've kind of norfed up the steering wheel a little bit. I'm gonna take this apart. Probably just something got smushed together. If I pull it out, it's smooth. So something got pushed in, probably just a bearing or a bushing that's kind of out of alignment now. Range on this was not what I expected. I was actually expecting a little bit more. I would say about 125 foot range is what I saw. Definitely less than what I'm used to with Spectrum radio equipment. I'm going to be putting a Spectrum receiver in here soon enough so I can go ahead and get that extra range. Overall performance, I mean, this thing is a wheelie monster. It has so much punch, and the rear step pin tires provide a ton of grip, and they didn't wear excessively either. You know, that's the one thing when you have a soft tire, it's going to provide you that forward grip, but at the same time, it's going to wear faster. These several battery packs through, very little wear pattern whatsoever. In fact, looking at it here, I can't even tell. Like normally you would get a, the front-facing edge of the pin would wear down and kind of angle backwards because it's going to spin and slip and whatnot, and just that's the wear pattern. I'm really not seeing much of that on here at all. I did feel like the slipper clutch loosened up about 4 battery packs in. I tightened it up a little bit. There was no problem whatsoever on here. Again, I would highly recommend picking up a good set of Allen wrenches just to make sure that you're not stripping out anything on here. Dynamite, Onyx, and a number of other companies provide great startup toolkits for RC cars and trucks that'll help you just enjoy the hobby more. Now, I will say one thing too, running this, I am now even more excited to build, and I was already geeked out to do it, but to build my new Team Associated RC10 B64D two-wheel drive off-road buggy. Summer, I love summer. I don't want it to end too quickly, but I'm looking forward to when summer ends and I can go racing again at WS Raceway and RJD Hobbies and Raceway here in Central Illinois. But overall, the Mini-T 2.0 Brushless, This thing is a blast. Now, if you want to check out any of the other videos that we've done on RC cars and trucks, some of the races we've gone to, we will have those videos coming up for you right now. And don't forget to play more games, stay square, and take care. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you want to help support Rock Solid Productions and be a part of our community, there's a number of different ways you can do so. First and foremost, join us over on our Patreon page or become a channel member here on YouTube. By joining through either one of those methods, you get early access to just about all of our video content, exclusive content, and a whole lot more. We also give you shout outs at the end of each and every one of our videos. You can also pick up some awesome Rock Solid Productions swag. We've got t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and more available through our Teespring store on screen right now too. You can also pick up some of our awesome 3D printed cartridge stands, Amiibo holders, Nintendo DS holders, and more by visiting our 3D printer store on screen right now as well. Links for everything will be down below in a pinned comment. If you want to stay up to date with everything we have going on here at Rock Solid Productions, make sure that you're following us on the different social media networks. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/RockSolidProductions, Instagram at instagram.com/RockSolidProductionsGK, and Twitter at RockSolidStudios. If you're looking to pick this and other retro and modern gaming accessories up, make sure that you head on over to CastlemaniaGames.com. He has a feature over there called Castle Cash, where the more you spend, the more you earn towards future purchases, and Castle Cash is just like cash. He also offers convenient payment plans for more expensive items over $50. Finally, make sure that you use promo code ROCKSOLID10 when you're shopping at CastlemaniaGames.com, as it can save you up to 10% on most items on the website. Again, thank you for watching this episode, and I cannot wait to see you again soon.